SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena is here to unpack the Gaza ceasefire with us. Sophie, thank you so much for your time. We were thinking that by this time we would have the vote firstly having done. It was scheduled to have been done by 11. But all these hurdles, they keep on coming up. What is the future of this deal by you, the way you see things? Do you think that by the end of Thursday we would have something concrete on paper?
It was expected. You know how Benjamin Netanyahu operates. You know that he was not going to allow Hamas and those who negotiated this deal to really take charge of almost what one can say a high moral ground or the PR exercise. So he wants to exercise his muscle in terms of ensuring that they do understand that he has a role to play. But also, you know that when this ceasefire is implemented, now the focus will be on Benjamin Netanyahu. How did we arrive at this? And there are people in Israel who are pushing that he be removed in power, and he's using the conflict in that region to ensure that he's able to stay in power. He is also facing allegations of fraud and corruption. You know that he has been attending some of the court cases, and he is using this to try and derail accountability. So it was expected, because Hamas was the first part of these negotiations, was that they agreed to the ceasefire. They issued a statement first. And then yesterday they confirmed that they support the ceasefire. When Benjamin Netanyahu issued that statement that there seems to be backtracking, they immediately issued a statement that they are committed to the content of these negotiations in terms of those three phases. And therefore the question is, what is Benjamin Netanyahu now up to? But we know that in Israel there's resistance. The far-right groups are pushing that the deal mustn't go through. You also have a situation where he is trying to perhaps get some concessions himself in terms of what's likely going to happen in relation to accountability.
Yeah. On the screen now we have live visuals from Gaza's Khan Yunis, and it makes me go into our next question about should the deal go ahead, of course, and the hostages are released. Those that Palestinians that have been in hostage as well, where will they go to? Because a lot of the places have been destroyed. Do you think that this is something that is also likely to dominate the news cycle, to talk about the future of the Palestinians?
Yes, indeed, this is quite critical, because many people had to move from their homes, and therefore how do you bring them back? But secondly, the destruction. I mean, Gaza is in ruins. What's going to happen to the people? And the rebuilding process is going to take time. And therefore, the international community, it is the responsibility of the international community to put pressure on both sides to ensure that the peace agreement, or the ceasefire, let me say the ceasefire, does hold. And therefore, it will be up to the international community to ensure that those who are affected are able to go back home. And those who don't have a place to go to, you are able to create or give them shelter as it's being prescribed in the Human Rights Charter or in relation to the United Nations. And therefore, this is a very difficult task. And those countries, the ones that are influential on both sides, will have to ensure that they continue to speak to their friends in terms of putting pressure to ensure that this agreement is implemented on Sunday and peace is holding. Unfortunately, we saw yesterday the Israel Defense Force continuing with bombardment. We are told more than 30 people were killed in Gaza last night. Tonight, we don't know what's going to happen. On Saturday, we don't know until that implementation happens on Sunday. If there's no pushback, as you can see, Benjamin Netanyahu is now up to something.
Definitely. SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena, thank you so much for updating us on the story. And she was unpacking the latest with the Gaza ceasefire, and that has been, we've been reporting on it since the first hour of On Point.